Alrighty. Hello and welcome, everybody. Welcome to Howdy Partner, our weekly Twitch series hosted live here on the AWS Twitch channel. So every week, we use these 2 hours to showcase our amazing partners in the AWS Partner Network and the innovative solutions that they build on AWS. So who am I? My name is Jerry Tejada. I am a partner solutions architect and member of the spatial computing technical field community at AWS. Quick note on technical field communities, TFCs. So those are communities of AWS experts organized into different knowledge domains. Mine being spatial computing, which is, an evolving form of computing that blends our physical world and virtual experiences. Now, also a member of that community is Lauren Marble, which side she's in, my co-host and partner in crime. So Lauren, get in here and say hello.
Thanks, Jerry. As Jerry mentioned, I am the co-tech lead for the spatial computing technical field community here at AWS. I'm also a senior spatial computing solutions architect, and I have been for the past couple of years. Happy to be here, happy to present one of our amazing partners in this field, and hope you guys enjoy it and have brought the heat with some questions.
Yeah, definitely. We want you all to participate. This is meant to be very interactive back and forth. So anything you see here, definitely drop some comments, say what you feel, and any burning questions that are going on inside you. Okay. So on today's episode, our partners at Sphere, Sphere being on the top, one of the top sides, pointing to their logo here, will show us how to use their mixed reality XR platform in a few different ways. And hopefully that shows you, the audience, how you can use mixed reality to solve some of the challenges for your business. So to help your business run better, faster, stronger than it is today. Because that's what partnership is really about. Us at AWS and our partners at Sphere helping you, the customer. Right. So whether you're a large enterprise or a small business, even a single developer, whoever and wherever you are. Okay. So that being said, where is everyone tuning in from today? So I'm here in New York City. Please drop in the chat what city you're watching from.
I'm obviously in Seattle. No, that's my vacation photos.
I will stay here in silence until someone puts in the chat where they're from. Okay, we got Ohio. Fantastic. Also on Eastern time. And we have another folks in Seattle as well. Awesome. So hopefully those keep rolling in. So that's enough of me. And that's enough of Lauren and I. Let's bring in our friends here at Sphere. So let's bring in Jake and Colin. Welcome, Jake and Colin. Feel free to introduce yourselves.
Hey, Jerry. Hey, Lauren. Thank you for having us. My name is Jake Ledner. I'm product manager here at Sphere. And like you, Jerry, I'm based in New York City.
My name's Colin. I'm the CTO here at Sphere. Split my time between our two main offices in the Bay Area and Zurich, Switzerland.
All right, Switzerland. Very cool. So yeah, please tell us about Sphere and what we're going to see in the demo today. I'm personally really excited about this one. Just really quickly, like I said, I'm in the spatial computing technical field community, so I am all about this new 3D world that is emerging in front of our very eyes. So I'm super excited. But yeah, please tell us what Sphere's all about.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, thanks again. So Sphere, as you mentioned, is an XR collaboration solution. We focus on a handful of different use cases, but primarily centered around collaboration and upskilling of the workforce to make sure that employees are productive. So we have a couple of different use cases that we're going to walk through today. The first of which is going to be remote assistance. So helping to bring knowledge from potentially an expert who may not be at the right place at the right time to that person who is at the right place at the right time. We'll walk through also a workflow guidance solution that helps people navigate through processes that they may be unfamiliar with. And then we'll also discuss spatial collaboration, and we'll show a unique feature that we have called presentation mode. And there we can kind of showcase how different users can collaborate in augmented reality or mixed reality in a multi-user capacity. So they don't necessarily have to be in the same place at the same time, but they can interact with the same digital content. So yeah, that's Sphere. And yeah, Colin, anything you'd like to add?
No, just that we're excited to see you to show everyone what we're working on.
Excellent. All right, so I touched on a couple of these different use cases. So the main one, Sphere, is the spatial collaboration. That's our core product. That's the whole layer of Sphere that allows people to connect from different places, whether they're together or separate. As long as you have a mixed reality device or your mobile phone, tablet, PC, you can enter a Sphere session and collaborate with somebody else who's using mixed reality. On the right, you'll see the Connect package, and this is more geared toward remote assistance. This will be the first demo that we showed today. And this is, as I mentioned before, allowing a headset wearer or a field technician to be wearing a headset, connecting to an expert who may or may not also be wearing a mixed reality headset. That expert can then interact with the wearer of the headset in a spatial context. And so this is really powerful for use cases where you're trying to transfer information. Maybe an expert can't be at the same place, all over the country, right? They want to be able to help one person in Zurich, one person in California, one person in New York all at the same time. They can do so centrally and at the same time train up field technicians. And then on the left, you'll see our use case around train. And so this can be workflow guidance, it can be training, but basically in this scenario, you'll see workflows appear in space in a spatially relevant way. And they can walk somebody through a process from beginning to end and bring in useful media files that will help them throughout their journey of completing whatever task they're working on. So this could be images, videos, PDFs, even 3D models, and we'll touch on all this in the demo. And just wanted to quickly highlight some of our amazing customers and partners. So we work with a variety of industries, be it aviation and aerospace, or pharma and manufacturing, automotive as well. You'll see many recognizable names in our customer base right here. And then also our alliance partners. So we work on a variety of devices and with a variety of platforms. So you see some of our partners here: Lenovo, Qualcomm, Magic Leap, Meta, and of course AWS. And thanks again, Jerry, for hosting us. And just a couple notes on our platform and how it works and what devices you can expect to use and what type of support you can get with other systems. We are a device agnostic platform. So you can use this on any augmented reality, pretty much any augmented reality, virtual reality device. So such as we discussed already, Magic Leap, HoloLens, Quest 3, Lenovo A3, Lenovo VRX, and soon Apple Vision Pro, as well as mobile phones, Android, iOS, tablets also can be Windows tablets or Android tablets, and then PCs as well. We're compatible with other existing systems that you may have. So whether this is a PLM, ERP, LMS, we can bring any of the content that you have living in those systems into Sphere to create some of these workflows, for example. We have flexible deployment options, so you can run Sphere on-prem, private cloud, public cloud. Public cloud's probably a good idea with these guys. But yeah, really any way that you want to spin it, we can host Sphere. We also have a Microsoft Teams integration, so you don't necessarily have to use the Sphere PC client. You can integrate directly with your existing team calls, join sessions that may already be set up. So this works super clean out of the box, and yeah, great way to integrate into your existing systems. We also can easily support many different file types. We have a 3D asset pipeline that brings in files from any different or very many different types of 3D assets. I think 90 plus we support. So really, whatever 3D files you have, we can bring them into Sphere and visualize them in 3D and collaborate with other users. We're also working toward ISO and SOC 2 certification. So if that's relevant for trustworthiness and security, we'll have that very shortly as well. So that's it on the quick intro into Sphere and who we are and what we do. And now I think we can jump into a quick demo of the first use case that we discussed, which is remote assistance. So feel free at any point to stop us along the way. We're super interested to hear your questions. And yeah, we'll jump into that one.
We do have a question actually from the chat. How long has Sphere been around? So when was Sphere founded?
Yeah, so we've been working on our standard solution since the beginning. It's always been a standard product, and we started in 2019.
Awesome. And then what got you guys into the whole sort of XR spatial computing world, just at a personal level? Was it, did you study it maybe in school way back when, or whatever it was?
Yeah, I can start on that one. For me personally, I just saw the potential. I tried out a Magic Leap device a handful of years ago and was like super impressed with the technology. The fact that you could overlay, 3D content on top of your real world environment. I just thought that was super powerful and that there would be tons of use cases. And we're really seeing more investment in this industry and it's really coming to fruition.
Yeah, personally for me, I came more from a developer standpoint. When I kind of got into the space, I remember it was still the Oculus development kit 2 way back when, and I think that summer Google released their first version of AR Core, Apple released their first version of AR Kit. This was still back in HoloLens 1 days. Yeah, the enthusiasm just carried from there. So I've always been a fan of the technology.
Awesome. Thanks for that, guys. And I'd love to ask the audience as well, just has anyone ever used any sort of XR device before? Maybe a Quest, a Magic Leap, and maybe do you plan on buying the new Apple Vision Pro coming out soon? We'll wait for those to come in. Oh, I've done VR, but not XR. Cool. I will say the VR devices they were like first to the game, probably more so a little more developed earlier on. And then now the pass through is becoming more of a thing and all of that. So Jake, should I add this other?
Yeah, you can go ahead and bring that one on.
Awesome. All right, take it away.
All right, great. So yeah, in this segment, we're basically going to showcase the remote expert capabilities that Sphere can offer. So you'll see on my screen here, I've got Lane in the session with me. Lane's our North America's business development lead, and he's going to be helping me out showcase this section of playing the role of the field technician or the person who is in need of expert help, really. So the scenario that we're going to be walking through today is one where, let's say your car runs out of battery, right? And you need a quick jump start. Maybe you don't know exactly how to do that, right? You need a little bit of assistance. So in this case, it's going to be a bit of a roadside assistance type of demo where I'm going to be helping Lane as he tries to jump start his car here. So Lane's wearing a Magic Leap headset. I'm joined into the session on my PC client here, the Sphere client. And so I'll be walking Lane through how to jump his car. So Lane, you there?
Sorry, let me get Lane onto here. There we go, Lane.
Oh, cool. All right. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, awesome. All right, cool. Well, Jake, yeah, I came out here. I was going to take my truck in, go get it worked on, and unfortunately it came out, tried to start it up, and it just wouldn't turn over. I do have this little device here that's supposed to help me with jump starting the truck, but I'm just not entirely too sure what it is that I need to do to get this up and running.
Yeah, no problem. So I'm happy to help you with that, Lane. Why don't you just pop open the driver's side door and step into the truck, and I'll help you pop open the hood, and then we can get started on the actual process of jumping the car.
All righty. Cool. I'm in here now.
All right. So you see a couple levers down to the bottom of the steering wheel there.
Yeah, it looks like there's a few.
Yeah, there's a few. So I'm going to circle precisely the one that you need. So just hold still for a second, and then I'll be able to draw actually into your space, and you'll be able to see in 3D which exact lever that you're going to need to pull.
All right, cool. Alrighty, got that. It sounds like it just opened.
All right, great. So yeah, now you can hop out of the truck, swing around to the front, and we're going to open the hood.
Alrighty.
All right. And as we go through this process, I'm going to bring in the owner's manual for your truck, just in case there's anything that we need to reference. Are there, or actually, which model is this?
So this is a 2018 Ford F-150.
Okay. So I'm bringing in the manual for your 2018 Ford F-150. That should arrive in 3D space in just a moment.
Perfect. I can see that.
Okay, great. And what I'm going to do is quickly flip to the right page of this manual for jump starting the car. So I believe this will be page 327. And yeah, so this should now show up in your space on page 327 so that you can quickly see exactly what you need to do in order to jumpstart the car.
So I'm going to move this so I can see it better.
Okay, did that load in? All right, let me quickly try to spawn this in one more time. Okay, there we go. All right. Well, yeah, let's continue on here. So you have that PDF there that has the manual for your car. And what I'm going to show you now is how to jumpstart the car, basically. So what starter do you have there? It's an electric starter, you said, right?
Yes, it's a 1500 amp NextPow 12 volts electric starter.
Okay, great. So what I'm going to do is bring in a diagram here that shows exactly how to use that starter specifically. So there's a couple steps here. You're going to be able to insert the jumper cable into the booster as the first one. So you have both of those things with you?
Yes. Okay. Let's see. Looks like let's just insert. All right. Takes a bit of force. Cool. We got that.
All right, great. So yeah, the next step here is just to clamp this jumper cable onto the battery. So if you want to take a look at your engine here, I can kind of point you to exactly where the battery is. Okay, so if you hold still for just a moment, great. So this is the battery. And on it, you're going to see a couple of ends that you can hook up the jumper cables. So the positive end is going to be right here, and that's the red one. So you don't want to put red on red. And yeah, exactly like that.
Does it matter which order that we go in?
Doesn't matter the order, just matters which one goes on which. So put red on that top side that I circled, and then black on the other.
Alrighty, I'll go ahead and power it on.
Okay, excellent.
Cool. Alrighty, that looks like it is kicking on right now. Do you know about how long I should leave this charging for to be able to jumpstart it?
I don't actually, but I can quickly just ask ChatGPT because this varies kind of depending on the battery level and the type of car, the make and model. So I'll just quickly ask, how long to leave Ford F-150 2018 charging for jumpstart. All right, so it says about 5 to 10 minutes. So just leave it like that for about 5 to 10 minutes or so, and we'll be good to go. So actually, yeah, the cool thing is Lane can see this browser that I spawned in on his side as well. So if there's anything that he wants to do to interact with it, he can do that too.
Cool.
But yeah, so you should be good to go. Give your car a start in about 5 to 10 minutes, and feel free to call me back if there's any questions that you got or if you need additional assistance.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much. Yeah, if I can't get us to start, I'll just give you a call back.
All right, great. Thanks, Lane.
Thank you.
All right, awesome. So Yeah, we'll kind of pause there for any questions you guys have, but this was basically a demonstration of remote assistance and how somebody who is not physically with me can ask me questions and I can bring things into their spatial context.
Yeah, that was really cool to see in person. Funny enough, we actually had a comment that said, I can always imagine AR support for something like a car repair. And that was before you actually brought on the demo. So we're reading minds out here. And I guess full rig, maybe you should contact Sphere if you want to know more about that use case. I'm glad you got to see it live.
Absolutely. Crazy how that works.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Any other questions from the audience here?
Yeah, we've got a question. So it says, how do you draw in the space and see what he sees when you're not wearing a headset? So I guess from the support side.
Sure. Yeah, so basically what happens is from the headset, there is a spatial mesh is what we call it, but it's basically the topology of the area that he's looking at. So the headsets use a technology called SLAM to do this mapping of everything that's around you. So basically the area that Lane is looking at gets mapped. And then on my side, as the expert, I can see that topology. And even though I'm writing in 2D, it intersects with the mesh that Lane is looking at. And so it creates this kind of effect where I can draw on something that's 3D and he sees it.
Awesome. Thanks, Jake. One question I had, so that was, I guess, maybe an automotive sort of industry use case. Do you know any other industries that are maybe using this type of sort of remote support for your customers today?
Absolutely. So one of our biggest customers is Airbus, and they're using remote assistance for planes that require maintenance. So you may have a plane sitting on the tarmac, and you've got an airline technician who's trying to diagnose an issue. I'm sure many of us have experienced this before. You're sitting on the tarmac trying to take off, and there's an issue that's preventing you from going wheels up. But in this situation, let's say the airline representative needs to contact Airbus support, right? Maybe they're not an expert on this particular piece of the plane that's got an issue, but there's Airbus engineers who can help out. Basically, at that point, the airline technician or the person at the airport can have a remote assistance session with somebody from Airbus HQ or Airbus support centers and understand and help diagnose that issue. And they can see through the wearer's eyes or whatever device it is that they have on hand and be able to help out in that way. And this is actually a very similar use case we have for another one of our customers, Ruag, who is a defense contractor for the Swiss military. And they maintain fighter jets. And so they do a very similar thing that Airbus does. But a fighter jet comes back to the hangar and maybe they need to go and interact with one of their suppliers for a part that broke. They can have this remote assistance type of session with that supplier.
Awesome. Thanks, Jake.
No doubt.
All right. Any more questions about the remote assistance demo that we saw just now?
I have a kind of maybe just like an exploratory question-ish. Can you add content like real time? Like, let's say you're on your computer and you're like, oh, they don't have this, or you realize, you don't have the right manual. Can you add that in real time, or do you have to kind of load it and then jump back on the call?
That's a fantastic question. And yes, you can upload content on the fly. So we have a button for uploading content while you're in a session. So you can drop in a PDF or a PNG, JPEG, MP4, whatever images, videos, whatever it is that you want to bring into the session, you can upload on the fly. And then, so you have to do this, of course, on the as a PC user or a mobile phone user, right? You can't necessarily do this on the headset, but whoever is the expert in the scenario can bring in all of these files. Absolutely.
Cool. How long does it, when you, typically put, I guess for remote assistance, you're not putting together an app too far ahead of time, but how long does it take to kind of, get your settings straight so that for each use case, you kind of have, a template or something like that for different kind of remote calls that you're making.
Yeah, I mean, for remote assistance, it's not too long. I mean, you have a couple of settings, right? Like what kind of video quality do you want to send out, depending on the bandwidth that you have, right? You can either do regular quality or high quality. Let's say something needs to be super precise. You're looking at a set of wires that you need the expert to be able to tell the difference between one wire and another. You're gonna want to have super high quality video going out. Of course, for not all use cases have that good of bandwidth. So maybe you want regular and you're okay not having as much precision. So those types of settings, I mean, it's a little bit of trial and error. I don't know, Colin, are there any other settings that you would bring up that people might want to configure for remote assistance?
No, you get the usual controls you would with, Teams or Zoom, tools that are familiar for, people who use these streaming tools. Yeah.
So we just had a question come into the chat. Does Sphere use WebXR device API?
No. So primarily our tech stack is based on Unity and OpenXR to support our solution on a variety of devices. But it's a great question. It is something we do have our eye on. We're always keeping a lookout for where Sphere might live tomorrow or in a month or 6 months. And the web and WebXR is certainly a topic we keep a close eye on.
Awesome. Thanks, Colin. Alrighty, well, Jake, I see you got a headset on there. Looks fantastic. Yeah, whenever you're ready, we'll take it away with the next demo.
Okay, awesome. Well, yeah, give us just one moment here. Colin, whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and give me a call. Perfect. Oh. Actually, hey, Colin, I'm using the test 3 user, so you can call that one.
Can you kind of explain what you're doing right now? That you're selecting a different user. Is that typically something you have to know ahead of time? Is there a link? Can you explain kind of how that works?
Sure. Yeah. So we can have users be created within Sphere or through Azure AD integration. But basically, whichever user account you have is going to be associated with the one that you're going to use for your PC calling or mobile calling, as well as in the headset. So it's just one set of credentials. You log in on any device. For us, we got a couple different ones for demo purposes, but that's all that was going on there.
Sweet.
All right, great. So Colin, you want to go ahead and share the light feed?
Yeah, let me switch to that.
Okay, and I'm going to turn my camera off here, and you're going to see the front-facing camera from my feed.
Yeah, so what we see right now is our Sphere client application. And what I get on my end is a live stream of Jake's headset view. So we can see you in front of your stove. There's a microwave, there's a coffee machine, and we see some menus popping up.
Guidance and training use case that we solve for with the task section of Sphere. And basically what task does is it allows you to bring in workflows into your 3D space. In this case, the task that I'm going to be doing is making a pot of espresso. So you'll see I have this nice espresso maker here. But maybe I don't know how to make espresso. Maybe it's my first time. So what this workflow is going to do is walk me through exactly the steps that I need to take in order to make this pot of espresso. Now, this is a simple example, but this could be extrapolated to many more complex use cases. And you'll see exactly the capabilities and can probably envision some use cases in your business where this might be applicable. All right. So I'll go ahead and select this Grosh espresso maker workflow, and I'll use it as a location-based workflow. And what a location-based workflow is a workflow that's executed in a way where the position of the panels and the virtual content is all relevant to where I'm standing. So you see below that, there's this run workflow setup mode. This is how you would set up one of these in the first place. But basically, this is done via a couple of options. One is manual anchor, and the other is QR code, which I'll show right here. So you see these two options, manual anchor and QR code. These are methods for localizing the workflow and making sure that it's showing up in the right spatial context. So in this case, I'll choose manual anchor. And I will place 1 point right here and 1 point right there. And you may be asking, well, Jake, why are you placing the points? That seems a little arbitrary. The reason is because when I initially authored this workflow, that's exactly where I put them. So I put those there, I put this panel here. So now when I run it again, I know that it's going to show up in the exact same place. All right. So now we're open in the workflow, and you'll see this panel is pointing directly to my stove and my espresso maker. And it's telling me, here are the things that I'm going to need. I'll need an espresso maker. I'll need a gas or electric stove, a sink or water dispenser. I've got a sink right here. And I'll need some ground espresso, of course. A couple of images to help me identify these things. Of course, in this example, very obvious the things that I need, but in some cases, this may not be the case. Okay. Now I'll move to the next step. And this is just an overview of what I'm about to do. So in this process, I'm going to unscrew the top of the espresso maker. I'll fill it with water. I'll add some ground coffee, screw it back on, heat it up, and pour it out and enjoy my nice warm espresso. Okay, moving to the next step. Now I'm asked, unscrew the top section from the base as shown below. And when you look here, you'll notice I have a 3D model that's animated that represents the exact same espresso maker that I'm going to be using. And so it spins around and it lifts up, and I don't even have to think about this, right? I just look at what it's doing and I copy it. And for things that are spatial in nature, this is really, really helpful. So I can unscrew it, lift it off, set it down right here, and move on to the next step. All right, this step tells me to remove the filter from the base, which is this metal piece that looks like a funnel. So if this were just a text-based description, I'd need to describe exactly what this thing looks like, right? Or maybe I would have a picture or a video. In this case, I can just have a 3D model that I don't, once again, don't even have to think about it. I just look at it and copy. Super easy. All right. Now you'll notice the workflow just flew across the room from this position over here to above my sink right here. And it's pointing to the sink. So this tells me, okay, maybe the next step is over here. So I walk over and it says, fill room temperature water into the base of the coffee or of the espresso machine up to the valve with the filter out. So I already took the filter out. All I need to do is grab this, and then, oh, there's a video right here exactly where, I'm going to go to do the step. And it just shows me, all right, fill up with water. And I can see exactly how high the level is that I need to fill it up. All right, now I'll set that down right about here and move on to the next step.
Hey, Jake, really quickly, how did it
Sure.
know to move from that first position over to the sink?
Yeah, so This is what I was describing about the workflow setup mode. And what this allows you to do is when you author a workflow, you can define exactly which locations each step should appear. So this is a separate mode from the one that we're in right now. But basically, you can move these panels around and you just position them where you want them to show up. And then you can grab this anchor point right here in setup mode and point it to whatever it's supposed to point to. So yeah, that's basically how it's done.
Got it. Thanks.
Sure. And yeah, feel free to interrupt at any point if there's any other questions.
I have a question. When you move around, it like kind of cuts off the panel and some other stuff. Is that a limitation of the Sphere software, or is that a limitation of the device that you're using?
Yeah, so it's device dependent. In this case, yeah, it's a limitation of the Magic Leap field of view. So yeah, I'll be sure to try to focus my gaze a little bit more closely on exactly what I'm looking at. But yeah, this depends on the device that you're using. So in some cases, mixed reality, like pass-through devices like a Quest 3 or Apple Vision Pro should have a wider field of view.
Cool, thanks.
Sure. Okay. So moving along, it says take a paper towel and wipe off the filter, making sure it's super dry. So this panel points directly to the paper towels where I have them. Got a quick video that shows me what to do. I can go do the exact same thing. Great. And now we'll move on to the next step. Okay, now it says fill up the filter with ground espresso. Don't pack it super tight. Just put the espresso in so that the water can get through. Okay, I have a video here. You can quickly watch that while I do it. Try to match the right number of scoops. Great. Okay. So now I'll move to the next step. It says to place the filter with the coffee grounds into the base. Another video will show me exactly what to do. And it's positioned right where I need it to be.
Glad you filled up enough coffee for all four of us here on screen.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, you're not too far away, Jerry. I can deliver some to you.
That's right. Bring it over here.
All I need is more caffeine.
Yeah, at this time, that's exactly what we need. Okay.
Somebody did have a question in the chat. Said, how long does it take to create this workflow starting from ground zero, no models or videos or anything? How much coding does it require?
That's a great question. So no coding is required. I'm sure that's great for some people who are listening and wondering, whether they got to go learn a software stack in order to do this. You don't. So we have a no code editor in our Sphere management portal. It's just like a drag and drop, almost like a flow chart, and you just bring in some steps, write what text you want them to say, and then upload files and attach them to whatever step you want them to appear on. And then you can create the whole flow chart of what steps are going to follow, what the order is going to be. No code at all.
Very cool. And about how long does it take to create, somewhat of a loaded question, how long does it take to create this workflow from ground zero, right? It depends, but.
Sure. Yeah, it really depends on a lot of factors. For this workflow in particular, like just for the text and the images, I mean, very little time. Maybe you could get up and running in less than an hour. And if you have more complicated things like 3D models, not that those are any more difficult to upload, but if you want to add animations, then maybe it takes a little bit more time. But if you already have what you need, it takes very little time, less than an hour, probably less than 30 minutes even to author a workflow.
Cool.
So we did have another question. Can you go through the steps without using the controllers, or do you need them? I'm guessing
Yeah.
this
So
one's
actually,
probably- oh, go for it.
I can put this down. Actually, this is a feature that we are releasing in our upcoming release. So can't do it on this section, but I'll do it on the next section. But yes, we do have hand tracking support, so you can set the controller down and use your hands to interact.
Very cool.
I've been waiting for that one.
Yeah, we'll be awaiting
Great.
that eagerly. Awesome.
Awesome. All right. Any other questions before we continue?
I think we're good to roll.
How's the
Cool.
coffee taste?
I'll let you know in about 12 minutes or so. All right. So I think I skipped a step here of screwing the lid on. That's okay. But yeah, I've got this great 3D model here.
Jake, we're not seeing the Magic Leap video feed anymore. At least
really?
I'm not. Is it just me?
No, I'm not seeing it either. Yeah, it just went down like a minute ago.
Okay. Colin, you're still sharing screen, but it's not coming through there?
Oh, let's bring it back in now. There it is.
Okay, great. So you all can see?
No, it is. I think I
go.
see it again. I had switched
Yep.
to momentarily show a bit of the workflow for authoring.
Aha. Okay, great. So everybody can see my feed?
So it just went down again. Do we want to show the headset feed or the authoring screen?
We can show the authoring quickly if you want to go ahead with that, Colin.
Great. Once we have that ready, we'll bring it on over. All right.
Yeah, so to the previous question of what that looks like to build and author these workflows, it's simple, no code, drag and drop kind of editor. If you use PowerPoint or Google Slides, it's a very familiar interface where you can drag things around. You can add a variety of steps, give them a title, a new description, coffee. And you have all these different types. And the beauty of this is that it's no code, right? And if I want to add this step, let's say at the very end, I can create this. And immediately, if I approve and publish this step is then added to this workflow or maintenance procedure or step-by-step for everyone who wants to consume it. So you can also imagine over the lifetime as steps may change or you want to make adjustments, super easy to update and push new steps and instructions to everyone who wants to consume this.
Great. Yeah, great to see the going on in the background here.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Now, for customers who have much more complex and intricate workflows, right? We're showing something here that's maybe 10 steps. For a customer like Airbus, you can imagine some of their procedures have hundreds of steps, right? And we offer the ability to integrate and connect with those other systems where we can synchronize with other data sources, so they don't need to reauthor it. They can use the existing data and processes that they already have in place, but leverage Sphere as this front-end XR layer to really give a more nuanced execution to this procedure compared to maybe pen and paper or tablet, as Jake has shown.
Great. Thanks, Colin.
And once you get those steps, so let's say you've authored, so that authoring piece is really to embed the visuals, the models the text and everything. When you go to anchor things into the real world, so I imagine somebody like Airbus would walk around an airplane and kind of pick where their instructions would go. When you do that kind of spatial anchoring, is it just the native anchoring that you use from like Magic Leap, their internal like SLAM type, or can you use third party visual positioning systems, that kind of thing? Like let's say they wanted to bounce it off of a tag or a QR code or something like that.
Yeah, so what we built is a way to do this that is then hardware independent. Typically, we'll have someone who has done this procedure before walk through, and as they do it as they normally would, they'll set up and label this for someone who's maybe not as well trained, to give them that context. The beauty of doing this in a way that's device independent is that that one authoring step can be reapplied and reused for someone who wants to use the same headset, maybe wants to use a tablet or a smartphone, but consume it and be able to jump in exactly the same way.
Cool.
Yeah. So on that note of not being device dependent, that's actually a question that I had. So how easy is it to deploy to these different devices or types of headsets? So do you author it like custom for each different headset, or do you just write the authoring once and then maybe click deploy to Magic Leap, deploy to, HoloLens or whatever it is?
Mm-hmm. So it is an author once, use everywhere kind of setup, right? And as we're primarily a cloud-based solution, pushing this happens to all these devices all at once. So you avoid any kind of desynchronization or mismatch where one device gets one version, another device gets another version. And this is part of that enterprise readiness that we offer to our customers, where they can have full traceability and accountability for that procedure, right? Making coffee here is let's say pretty low consequence, but a lot of our customers use these for business critical processes and really controlled settings where they need an exact audit of every step that was taken, which version of the procedure it was, to really abide by their regulations and compliance.
Awesome. So we did have a question. Is Sphere available on the Apple Vision Pro?
It will be. This is as much as I can say right now. We're big fans of Apple stepping into the space, and we believe that it has its place in the market alongside all the other headsets. Us being a hardware agnostic, device independent vendor, our ethos is kind of to provide the best experience and software solution on the spectrum of headsets that are available, and consult and allow our customers to pick, mix and match the different headsets, which have their own pros and cons according to their needs, which is not the same for every department, for every person. Budget obviously comes into discussion there as well. But they have the safety and the peace of mind knowing that Sphere as a solution will run on all of them and come back to a familiar experience no matter which headset they're on.
Great. It's fantastic. I know people will be clamoring to try out Sphere once the AVP is up and running. Let's get Jake back in here. Hello, Jake.
Hey. All right. Well, yeah, as Colin mentioned, yeah, super excited for the Apple Vision Pro to drop in the next couple of days. We'll be working hard to have Sphere available.
So we did have a question, I guess, before we hop into the next demo here. The question is, I might have missed it, but what is the pricing model? Are there subscription tiers? Is it a one-time purchase? And do you maybe purchase future upgrades?
So
take this one, Colin?
we offer a subscription license for every user. It's not bound to any particular device. Someone who has purchased a license can use it on the PC, on the web, on a Magic Leap, all the same. Right? What we do offer, in addition to that base package, is for some more specific use cases. Let's say extended remote assistance features. There's an add-on package for that. If your interest is in workflows and standard instructions, there's a different add-on package for that. But give a flexible kind of SaaS model to our customers to pick the amount of licenses and add-ons that they need to suit their needs, and ultimately grow as their usage grows as well.
Thanks for that, Colin. Alrighty. Yeah, so I believe we have a third demo in the works. The first two have been awesome, by the way. I've really enjoyed seeing the remote assistance with the fixing the car and making a good cup of joe. It's been great.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. Well, yeah, we'll step into the next one. Hopefully my coffee's ready at some point, but I'm gonna turn off my camera here, and then Colin will share his screen. And once again, you'll be seeing the video feed through my headset, and I'll be collaborating with my colleague Will here, who's the QA lead here at Sphere.
Welcome, Will. Thanks for joining.
Thank you, Jerry.
All right, let's bring the feedback on the screen. There we go.
Okay, fantastic. All right, so you're seeing right now Will's feed, but he and I are going to be collaborating together on this next segment. We're going to be showing a spatial presentation. So what you'll see here is probably on Will's side, you should be able to see me as an avatar. So Will and I are actually not in the same location. We are physically in different places. He's in California, I'm in New York, but we're going to be collaborating together as if we were in the same exact space. So just want to confirm, can you all see me as an avatar on Will's video feed?
Yep, yes we can.
All right, awesome. So yeah, we have these super lifelike avatars. You know, you can track people's hands and mouth movements even. And yeah, so we're collaborating, and anytime we interact with any virtual content, it's synchronized for the both of us. So even though we're not together, it feels like we're together. All right. So now what I'm going to do is open a presentation on my side. You guys won't see me opening it, but it'll show up on Will's side in just a moment here. All right, great. So one thing that you'll notice is you'll see a couple of what we call holograms spawn in. One is a 3D model of a electric VTOL. This is a vertical takeoff and landing aircraft. And you know, this is really great to visualize because sometimes aircrafts or other vehicles or machinery like this are really difficult to transport, or they might not even be built yet, right? Like this right here is a prototype. So this company, Joby, doesn't actually have so many of these, but they can show these 3D models in a way that is very easy to understand, right? You don't need to bring an actual physical VTOL vehicle to somebody's showroom, right? You can just bring your augmented reality devices, your mixed reality devices with Sphere loaded up on them, and have your 3D models ready to go, along with a spatial presentation, just like a typical PowerPoint. All right, so another great feature that we have is you can also see the video feed of other users. So while I can see Will's video and he can see mine if we both have them enabled. So what I'm going to do is quickly enable my video feed, and you'll be able to see everything that I see kind of through Will's eyes. So it's a little bit of some sphere inception going on here. But you'll see that he sees what I see and I see what he sees. And we also are together and we can collaborate. Okay, great. So we've got this eVTOL here, and I can interact with it, and you'll see when I manipulate it, it shows up immediately on Will's side. So I'm going to turn it to a wireframe model, which basically means you can see right into it. And so now Will or I can walk right up to this thing, and we can see the geometry. We can see the parts that maybe aren't visible typically from the exterior. So yeah, now that you can see inside the model, right? You maybe could understand something that wasn't easily understandable, even if you had the real thing here, right? You'd have to climb inside of it. Okay, awesome. So I'm going to continue through the presentation. We've got a couple slides here just to kind of give you the sense of what it might look like if you were doing a presentation or a demo of your product using Sphere, right? So in this case, this VTOL is ready to fly, right? They describe it as one that's already close to production, right? They've got a prototype that's ready to go. But when Will and I are looking at the model here, you can see actually that the wings are coming in, right? The doors are closing, the wheels are coming up, and the propellers are spinning, right? This VTOL is ready to fly. And so you can kind of time up, create these presentations where you can describe exactly what it is that you're showing via the 3D model. All right, so we'll continue on with the presentation. Now in this frame, you'll see just the propellers are spinning. It's ready to fly a little bit higher. So if you notice, as I kind of move to the next frame, the VTOL flies up even higher. And we can kind of see it as if it's taking off and flying to its destination. And you'll see that we have a presentation slide here that shows, what is this used for? So this is one of the use cases, I guess they describe, is taking this transportation vehicle from Lower Manhattan to JFK Airport, which they say they can do in about 9 minutes. That's pretty cool. For me, it takes like 45 minutes to get to JFK. So I would love to be somebody who could take advantage of this. But anyway, I think you guys get the idea. So I'll pause there for just a moment. Just want to make sure everybody's still with me.
Yeah, we are still here and loving what we're seeing here. For those just joining, welcome to Howdy Partner. If you're just hopping on, this is our weekly Twitch series where we showcase innovative partner solutions that are built here on AWS. And today we have Sphere, and they're showing us their amazing XR platform that we're seeing now.
Excellent. All right, well, I'll continue on. Again, this is a spatial presentation. And here we have a 3D model and some slides that are walking you through how you might be able to showcase a product that's spatial in nature, large or difficult to transport. Anyway, I'll carry on here. So in this next stage of the presentation, we'll see a really cool thing about these eVTOL transportation vehicles, right? Their wings actually can tilt forward, their propellers tilt forward. And so it takes off vertically, but then as the propellers tilt forward, it can now fly laterally. So really unique technology, great thing to be able to showcase spatially, right? Even if I had this VTOL with me right now, you wouldn't be able to see it up close with its propellers tilting forward like this, right? Even if it were up in the sky, it would be hard to see. All right, so now I'll move on to the next frame. And the eVTOL is now flying laterally, right? And so as I move forward in the presentation, you'll see it fly around the room. So it flew across the room, did a 180, and now you basically can see what this vehicle looks like as it prepares for its ascent, or after it makes its way across, whatever airspace it's traveling through, right? So potentially it's at JFK right now. So now it's ready to land. In this case, you can showcase a couple of details, can carry 4 passengers and a pilot, etc. All right, a couple other value propositions. They talk about their dual wound motors, isolated battery packs, no single point of failure, and you can see myself and Will both acting as avatars in the space. So we're seeing the same thing at the same time here. The model becomes ready to land. You can learn a little bit about the propulsion method that they've spent a long time procuring, and then the model goes and lands on the floor. And at this stage, you can see the wheels are coming out of the device, or out of the aircraft, and it's preparing to land. So pretty unique animations that you can add to give a little extra flair to your presentation, or to describe a process, or help educate people on how something actually moves or navigates a space. So really unique things that you can do. And these animations, they can already be part of the model, or like I just did, you can show things flying around the scene just through authoring it through Sphere. And so, if you authored something in Blender or Maya or another animation tool, we can bring that directly into Sphere without you having to do anything else. Awesome. So yeah, that's the end of this presentation, but I'll stop and ask, are there any questions that have come through, Jerry? Anybody interested to hear more about how presentation mode works, or how to get up and running?
Sorry,
I've been on mute. Yep.
Go ahead.
Yep. I've been on mute. Classic. So back on just really quickly, so we don't miss any questions here, back to the pricing questions. Do you have any special programs for nonprofits, or special reduced pricing? Do you happen to have any of that?
I'm not aware of any special pricing we have for nonprofits, but feel free to contact us. Maybe somebody on our sales side could absolutely hash out these details with you.
Yep, of course. And then another, can you move closer to the 3D model, and maybe also closer to the presentation window that we?
Yeah, how about I just move it closer to me?
Fantastic.
Yeah, so I can bring this 3D model up very close, and you can see, pretty good detail for how the model operates, right? How the animations are being displayed, and also as I kind of come closer to it, you can see that I kind of break through the plane. I can see on the interior of the model.
There it is, up close and personal. Fantastic.
Awesome. And actually, something cool that I'll show as well is, in addition to being able to break through the model like that, you can actually slice these models. So you can do this from afar as well. So I can bring this halfway sliced, and then I can come back up to it and look on the interior, and see what it looks like through a cross-section view as well.
I was having some technical issues for a second there, so I dropped. So forgive me if you went over this in the presentation already. But when you draw on the app, or let's say, or on the asset, or say you dropped in another 3D asset on top of it to say make a change, are you able to save that back to the model, or can you save it to another file, or what happens when you both drop off the call?
Sure. So this is a bit of a question that depends on what mode you're operating in within Sphere. So specifically for presentations, we're in more of a view mode, a presenter mode right now, similar to presenter mode that you might have on PowerPoint. Now, if you want to go and edit the presentation, you need to go into edit mode. And from there, then when I move something like this, even how I slice the model in half, in order to persist that, I would then make that same change in edit mode and click save. So right now, this view is more for presenting, but you absolutely can make any changes that you want and persist them. Now, separate from presentations, if Will and I are in a session and we want to save our work, right? Like let's say, we've been working on a design review, for example, and we pin some sticky notes into the space, which is something that you can do, or we draw around, the 3D model, right? So I'll quickly just create a sticky note here. Okay. And when those get created, you can basically save all the assets that are in your scene as what we call a collection. And then that all gets grouped together. And then when you want to reopen all of those assets that are spatially oriented, you could do so in just one click. You don't have to go and spawn each one individually. Go.
Nice.
So we have a couple more questions in the chat. This is amazing. Do you offer a free tier?
We do. I think that's a great time to cue the banner that we've got for this, Jerry.
That's right.
So we do offer a free tier, and depending on the device that you have, you can get started with Sphere right away. So on the Quest 3, we actually have our Sphere app on App Lab. So you can just go and download this, sign up for a free trial. The free trial never expires, and you get unlimited calls with Sphere. We do cap the calls to about 20 minutes, and we have some preloaded content in there that you can then use and mess around with. And if you are looking into expanding your use of Sphere, feel free to contact us, and we're more than happy to have a conversation with you about that. You also can use Sphere's free tier on other devices, such as the HoloLens 2 or the Magic Leap 2, also the Lenovo A3, the Lenovo VRX. Any of these devices support the free tier, and also you can use it on our light clients as well. So light clients being PC, mobile, tablet, and you can initiate calls between the light user and the headset wearer, so long as they're in the same domain, have the same email address ending at least.
Awesome. Thanks, Jake. And just to draw everyone's attention to the banner on the screen here, it's listing all the devices that Sphere supports. And I'm sure there's some documentation lying around somewhere on their website. So that kind of brings us to the next question. And Jake, you kind of alluded to this, but another question that's on the chat now: if we need help with the heavy lifting setting. If we need help with the heavy lifting in setting things up, where can we find that? So things like installing on devices, connecting databases, creating 3D models, and turning hundreds of pages of paper procedures into workflows, things of that nature. Sorry, it was a long question. Yeah, where's the help with that lifting?
That's totally okay. So when it comes to deployment, right, I'll kind of separate deployment and then, ongoing support and customer success. But when it comes to deployment, depending on, what deployment model you choose, it can be pretty turnkey. But any technical questions that you have, you can feel free to, we'll kind of help you out as needed, right? And, if it's an on-prem deployment, a little bit more complicated, we can certainly work through those details, and you can let us know if there's any specific questions you have on that. We also have a variety of partners that you can work with, systems integrators who will help you with this sort of integration if it's not your expertise. And you can certainly reach out to me or to Colin, and we can point you in the direction of some of our partners that we recommend. Now, when it comes to ongoing, maintenance and creation of assets and workflows and presentations, et cetera, if you have any questions about how does Sphere operate. We have a customer success team, and we're more than happy to assist you getting up and running, making sure that you're using Sphere productively. A lot of what our customers do is they get started with like a pilot or a POC, and then move into a production later on. So during those pilot phases, we can hash out a lot of the technical questions and make sure that you're ready to rock once you have all the ducks in a row.
I had a question about device. Do you have any planned support for the X-Rail that's coming out, the Air 2 Ultra in particular, with that 6 DOF goodness?
Yeah, it's a great device. Very interested to see how that plays out once they release it. It's something that we've been discussing. No immediate plans to announce right now, but yeah, it's certainly a very interesting device, and we're eager to see how the adoption plays out.
Cool. The other question that I had, and I think I know the answer to, you guys are on AWS Marketplace, correct?
Yes, we are.
Sweet. So for anybody that's out there that has the AWS account, you can purchase it through the marketplace. Pretty straightforward. Get your party started there.
All right.
Thanks for that,
I'll
Lauren.
come back on camera now.
Marketplace is a great way to get up and running really quickly. So definitely be sure to hop on there and check it out. Great to hear that Sphere is indeed on the marketplace. Yeah, looks like
we've
sorry, I was just gonna say,
okay.
You go first, Jake. You go first.
I was just gonna say, we've had many of our customers have really enjoyed the process of procuring through the AWS Marketplace, help them, burn down some of their AWS commit. Really valuable process to navigate through. So highly recommend it.
Awesome.
And yeah, all I was gonna say was there's really some interest in the chat for this free trial. Is there a link to point to the free trial? Are we able to provide that?
Yeah. So there is. Let's see. So there's a link on our website. I believe there's a link right now to contact us. So you can contact us directly, and we'll respond and provide you with instructions for how to get up and running with the free tier. And I believe next week we're going to have a link that allows you to self-serve and just go directly into the free tier as well.
Great.
And does the free tier include, I know you have an assortment of different options in your platform. Is it all of the options, or is it just remote assistance and workflows, or what is it? What's included in the free trial?
Right. So it's most of our capabilities. For example, features like presentation mode are not in there quite yet. And also the access to the management portal that Colin was showing is not included in the free tier. So things like authoring your own workflows, bringing in your own 3D models, that's a limited feature set that's available to Sphere customers.
Gotcha. Okay. Good to know.
Definitely. Well, one banner we got here is tell us about this podcast happening on February 7th. What's going on there?
Yeah, so our CEO Sven Brunner is coming online, and he's going to be giving a whole rundown of I believe like the founding story of how Sphere came to be. Colin was there way back in the day. He probably could add some color as well, but yeah, it'll be super interesting to hear Sven tell it from the beginning.
Yeah, I'm excited to tune into that. So it says, I guess it says here that you can find that podcast on YouTube. So is it live hosted anywhere? Is it or just on YouTube?
Let's see. Yeah, I think it's just on our YouTube channel. So we'll upload that. I don't think it's running live, but you'll certainly be able to find it under the Sphere Tech XR YouTube channel.
Great. Yeah, we'll definitely be checking that out.
Sven's a good time, so it should be a fun a fun podcast.
Definitely.
There's another question in here that says, can you remote pair on free tier?
Yes, you can. So yeah, in Sphere, we call this a session. You can initiate a session with other users, so long as they have the same domain, right? So if you are, Jake at sphere.tech, I can connect with Colin at sphere.tech, but I couldn't connect with Jerry at aws.com. So just make sure that the people you're trying to connect with are on the same domain.
Okay. And then another question was about, back to devices. What's the cheapest wearable device that can be used with Sphere? Magic Leap 2? Question mark.
I would say the
Right?
Quest 3. Quest 3 is definitely the
Yeah.
cheapest. I
I was
mean,
going
we
to say,
support Quest
Magic
2
Leap
as
2
well.
is
So
the
that's
cheapest.
actually,
We've got a problem.
yeah, it's not the Magic Leap. The Quest 2 is definitely the cheapest. I mean, of course, you're limited in terms of the pass-through capabilities of that device. So we'd recommend going with the Quest 3 if you're looking to keep the expenses down.
So one question I had, so you showed 3 different demos today. It was remote collaboration or remote assistance, then there was collaboration, and then there was sort of workflow guidance. Is it a pretty even sort of distribution between your customers, or are there any use cases that are maybe the most popular that you've seen with your customers?
Yeah, I would say it's a good split. Some customers like Audi, for example, use multiple of these functionalities, right? They have workflow guidance where they're training up their end users on how to put a dashboard or a windshield on the dashboard of the car. But then they're also helping to train up people who might be not in the same place at the same time. So they're using remote assistance to transfer knowledge that way. So some customers use multiple of the kinds of functionalities that we offer, and others use just one. But I would say, as far as the distribution goes, remote assistance is probably the most popular, but it's definitely closely followed by collaboration and workflow guidance.
Awesome. Thanks, Jake. And then maybe from the audience, what was your favorite demo that you saw here today?
Little informal poll.
Yeah, feel free to chime in.
Pun intended.
Not intended, but I did catch it.
I was just looking at my chat there. I was trying to see if there was like a poll feature, but there doesn't seem to be on Twitch.
All right, we got making coffee. Got one vote for making coffee. I think that's my favorite too.
Oh, come on! They put an airplane, or what was it, a helicopter in the kitchen? Like, it was just sitting in the kitchen. Like, coffee goes in the kitchen.
We've also got one vote for battery starting and collab with colleague.
Somebody break this tie, because I said my favorite. Somebody said making coffee. Somebody said battery collab. Who wants to be the tiebreaker? Who wants to be the most important person in the chat? Do we have nobody? We're just gonna leave it with a tie. We can't do that. This isn't soccer.
That's intense.
It's pretty similar to our customers. I mean, they kind of tie between
even split.
Even split. Even Steven. So one thing I haven't asked yet. So what do you see as the advantages of running this on AWS, or how has AWS sort of helped you run this solution, or maybe what services have you been using with it? If you could speak to that.
AWS is a great partner for us, right? Not just
Colin, your audio is a little muted.
Yeah, it's a little staticky.
Yeah.
No. Man, waiting right at the end here to.
I had problems at the beginning and a little in the middle. Somebody had to bookend it. The end.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I can
We'll
definitely
never know.
answer the question in the meantime while Colin figures out his audio. But yeah, we host our services on AWS, so it's been fantastic for us to work with AWS in order to have our instances running in the cloud. We don't have to maintain them ourselves, and no server rack here. And then we use some of AWS's forward-looking services like Lookout for Vision. We're kind of exploring into we have some experimental insights into how you can look at an object and recognize it using Lookout for Vision. And then I'll kind of let Colin can expand on this a bit if he's got his audio working.
Third time's a charm, maybe.
Yes, there we go.
You're back.
Success.
Yeah. As Jake mentioned, right, we use a lot of what we call foundational services from AWS that run our workloads, EC2, S3, those really flagship products. And on the more experimental side, right, we run our Sphere labs. This is a bit the more research and development and experimental arm of Sphere, where we explore what we can do with tools like Lookout for Vision, like AWS Poly, which is their speech to text, translation services, transcription, right? AWS has this huge, wide catalog of amazing services to let our imaginations run wild with as technologists to see what we can build and to better serve our customers, right? And I think one of the ones that has us most excited to dig into next is AWS Q.
Yeah, Q was an awesome announcement at reInvent. Definitely my favorite of the event. Super excited to use that and take advantage of that.
While people are getting excited about this free tier option, is there a kind of consolidated place for them to go get training to get the documentation that might be able to help them? Is your YouTube the better place to go, or your website? Where should they look?
Yeah, I would say YouTube is definitely the place to start. We have a learning management system that contains a lot of intro videos for how to get going. But actually, very soon we're going to be launching some intro videos in app. So just when you pop open some windows, they'll show you how to get up and running, how to start a session, how to have a collaboration session with somebody else. Because there's a couple nuances there that it's important to understand in order to navigate the application. But we want to serve that up in a way that's the most seamless, right? It's a little tricky to put your headset down, go over to your computer, watch a video, put the headset back on. So we want to serve that up in the application itself.
Awesome.
Yeah, that sounds great. That would be extremely useful, especially for this, newer technology, emerging technology. I think having tutorials like that on device would be super helpful for new users.
Love it.
Great. Well, I believe those were the demos that were scheduled for today. Any more questions from the audience on what you've seen here today, on Sphere, on partnership, anything that comes to mind? And if not now, feel free to connect with us on LinkedIn and reach out with questions on anything that you saw here today. Definitely.
Sweet.
Well, just a final check-in with our friends here at Sphere. Colin, Jake, anything more that you want to discuss or had prepared?
Not from my side. I just want to thank you, Jerry and Lauren and the whole team at AWS for hosting us on Howdy Partner, and to the larger team that supports us in all our arms of business. Right. It's been great working together.
Ditto. Sphere's been an amazing partner to work with. But ready at a moment's notice to support, super helpful when we're trying to troubleshoot. So high five to the whole team, and thanks for being just fantastic partners. Yep,
Lauren, read my mind. Sphere, you've been an awesome partner, and we're super happy to have you on the show. I think, just personally speaking, this has been one of my favorite episodes and demos that I've seen, because I'm all about this XR and 3D world, and this was really compelling demos. So thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you as well.
And then we'll extend the thanks to the audience. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Thanks for using the chat and being active. We're really happy that you got to see this demo here today. We're here every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern time for me here in New York. If you're on the West Coast, that's 2 p.m. Pacific. So yeah, be sure to tune in next time. We have more fun demos planned in the future. Yeah, thanks for tuning in, and see you next time.
So yeah, thanks, Jerry.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye. Thanks, everyone.